Game felt like 2013, no, not 2013, 2014 onward, where the Canes would outshoot their team by a lot, and then they'd still end up losing the game because holy smokes, did they get a lot of shots. And, they kind of outplayed Chicago throughout the game. And then, and then they give up a goal with 5 minutes left, and overtime happens, and Carolina even outplays Chicago through most of overtime. And then, Alex DeBrincat, who's been a Hurricanes killer, gets the win. But it's weird. Like, Carolina outplayed them every step of the way, which is what's like, and then I was processing that. And then I thought to myself, this is an example that I brought up earlier. At certain hockey games, a goalie's going to steal a game from you, and then at other certain hockey games, you're going to steal a game with your goaltender, or a game that you should have won, you lose, or a game you should have lost, you win. So this is going to balance out. I would hope that doesn't happen until the playoffs, but yeah. So Nashville, if you want to lose to us, uh, make sure we play better than you both of those games, please and thank you. Because, yeah, that's just one of those games. I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to rant. However, our power play continuing to slow down. We had a couple power plays, couldn't convert. Our power play is kind of slowing down, which this isn't the time to have our power play slow down. We had the best power play in the league. It's been a crux for us. You don't want to lose that, especially going into the playoffs. That's what worries me. That's the only worrisome thing to come out of this game. You outplay a team for most of the game, you're going to win games. And that's how I look at it. And there's not much else to talk about. Carolina outplayed them. Chicago's still a win. Chicago's not making the playoffs. We clinched our division tonight at the time of me recording the video, which is insanely late compared to the time it started. This wasn't true at the time of the game. However, at least Kane's getting a point for me is what earned them the playoff spot, or not the playoff spot, the division. Because, man, another team winning your hockey game after you lose a game, but you get a Bettman point out of it. A Bettman point and another team losing is a very underwhelming way to win your division in 20. In a very underwhelming way to win your division for the first time since 2006. Like that is incredible. Like, of all the ways to clinch a division in home ice for the first two rounds of the playoffs, maybe for depending on how they seed among the teams that are making it, but you win the knock on wood, that's too far ahead and you got to focus on each round. But winning the division and everything and being in the top three in points, like odds are you're going to have home ice through a lot of the playoffs, at least most likely the first three rounds by doing that. So like that is honestly great, but man, that's like that's you could have not scripted that any worse than winning the division. But it's awesome that it happened. Thank you, Dallas. Hopefully we can get you in the playoffs in return, even though I would rather play Nashville in the playoffs, but I'd rather win games than not win games and have Nashville go in with momentum playing us in the playoffs. At this point, on paper, I'd be more confident playing Nashville in the first round than I would Dallas. I feel like we've played Nashville better. But I don't want it to be Nashville wins twice. It's like, okay, we can beat them going into the playoffs. You don't want that. That's more dangerous than just a team I'm slightly more comfortable with playing in the playoffs with Dallas. So hopefully we can return the favor. And now I'll finish off with President's Trophy. I know I didn't talk about the game this much, but it didn't really feel like an eventful game. I mean, I kind of wish someone tried fighting Zadorov, like Trip Tracy pointed out, and then I'll give out Hurricane of the game. Oh, and Svechnikov got it last game. I don't know if I remember to bring that up, but Svechnikov won Hurricane of the game last game for me with his 2 goals and everything, and how he got his goal scoring back on track. I don't think Svechnikov has had a bad year. People have been like, oh, he's not producing at the right level. His goals have dropped. His assists have, he's still getting points like every other game. I don't think that's a drop. I think he's actually developing into a better all-around player. But back to Hurricane of the game. This game, it's Mrazek. Mrazek's down on his head. I wish Carolina managed to play for their goaltender this game, because Mrazek just really stood in his head, and we just couldn't get him an insurance marker. And I think that's unfortunate. And I think Brendan Moore probably should come into the players and be like, hey, this goalie was standing on his head. Uh, I mean, he made a good argument to get the start in the playoffs. If it were up to me, I'd still give it to Nedeljkovic, but that's more of a compliment to how much Nedeljkovic has improved and really solidified himself as an NHL starter this year, rather than a reflection of Mrazek or Reimer's game. Reimer, but you know what? Yeah, because both of them. Reimer has had a very good. Both of them have had good seasons. I just think Nedeljkovic earned the spot, and that's nothing against the players that got it. But again, underwhelming way. But it's time for President's Trophy watch, which after today, no longer in it. We no longer have to worry about the Tampa Bay Lightning taking it. So it is a 2-horse race, ladies and gentlemen. It all comes down to Vegas versus Carolina. Colorado could technically catch us, actually. So the Avalanche are in there. Pittsburgh. No, I think Pittsburgh's out of it. Yeah, no, Pittsburgh's out of it. Pittsburgh isn't taking the presents from us. I think Colorado, Toronto, and Vegas. Minnesota, no. But yeah, Colorado, Toronto, and Vegas. It's those 3 teams that could get it, which is kind of weird because Tampa, Florida, and then Pittsburgh. But no, Carolina clinches the division. Now they got to worry about Colorado and Vegas. Most likely Vegas. I swear to God, if Vegas beats us for the presents, I've never liked you, Vegas. Actually, I kind of liked you after the Vegas disaster and everything. And then they had that Stanley Cup run. But then, once they started getting to the Cup finals, they don't have to worry about Seattle's expansion draft. I'm like, okay, this is getting ridiculous. So I don't really like Vegas and, and the NHL. I don't think they rigged it, but they definitely made it a lot easier for them to get good players. And now Seattle's going to make it, it's going to be a lot easier for Seattle. And yeah, I think it's ridiculous that you can only protect 3 defensemen in the draft. I think it should be 4. But I'll get into what I think Carolina should do at the expansion draft, probably at the end of the season, because we got bigger fish to fry. But yeah, so Vegas and Colorado, maybe Toronto. Those are the teams we got to worry about, and then the Canes win their first President's Trophy in franchise history. But we got to worry about the Nashville Predators. The team standing in our way, they're going to come out flying. They need to clinch the playoffs. We need to win the Presidents. Should be an exciting 2 games, and hopefully it's the last we got to see of Nashville, which will be unfortunate to my cousin, but that's just the way the world works. So see you guys next video.